Hey class, so this is my video that I'm making for my self-learning for my module for our class, and I'm focusing module 4, which is government and policy. So I'm basically bringing all the materials I've gathered, trying to basically show a presentation, and this is something I usually like to do actually, so I like making videos. That's one of my pastimes, that I'm actually a YouTuber, so I make a lot of content and stuff like that. But this is on my personal channel compared to my content channel, which is I do other stuff there. So, moving on is, why am I interested in the government policy module? And a little bit also with diversity inclusion is why government, why politics, why care? Um, I care because obviously government and politics is something we're all interested in this class. I think anyone who's taking Masters of Public Administration, they like government or they want to know about government. For me, it's kind of like a process of learning what is good government, and then you also additionally ask what makes good government. What is a good political organization? And you know, our American society and our forms of understanding what government is a little bit biased because we are way different compared to other political systems. And I put this little American flag and Constitution up there because our form of democracy and form of government is just very unique. I hate to say it, but the American way is much different compared to other countries, and I just have a little bit of passion because I am an American, and which leads to basically the slide of who I am. So I'm a first generation American. I was born here, raised in Colorado, and I'm the son of refugees. So my parents, they came from a very different country and a different political system, and I grew up with the idea that I really want to focus on this. So right off the bat, that's why I really want to focus on government policy, because this is completely different from what they lived it through. And I still have family members in Vietnam, and I talk about them, and there's some no's, like you just can't talk about this, and there are just some things that we just is unspoken. And a little bit about me again. I am the first of my family graduate from college. And one big reason why I'm making this presentation and focus on this module itself is that I want to run for office in the future. I want to have public office. I want to know about people who are in office, how they got there, what their stories. This is not necessarily a career module, but this is kind of where I'm focused on, because public servants and people who run for office do have a lot of power, and they're very their standards of living and their ability to process things are definitely much different compared to ours. That's why I'm really interested in this career choice. And it's not really a career choice, it's more like an opportunity to learn. So what is the future like? I put the future is that, one thing I want to focus on in my module is diversity, because the future is that we're going to be a majority minority country in our lifetimes. And I found this graph here online basically while researching, saying that a majority of the United States population will not be white. They will not be Caucasian. They will be Hispanic, Black, Asian, multiracial, and other. So obviously that's one reason why I'm kind of interested in this, is because the future is not going to be what we're expecting to be in the future. The reality is that there's going to be increased diversity in this country. There's going to be an increasing number of people in our office who are not white, and that's one thing I really want to, I guess, what inspired me to focus on this module, with the preference of looking for people of color or of diversity. I had to add this because thanks Obama. President Obama is really one of the reasons why I think, me personally, getting involved in politics in the first place. Obviously, just a rundown. He's the first African American president of the United States. He's one of the first people of color as the highest office of the U.S., which is the POTUS, and he's something I personally voted for. He was my first president I got to vote for back in 2012. And he is impactful for my personal political life because one of his big things he did was that he empowered a lot of young folks while he was in office. He was advocating a lot for change, and of course he was a huge community leader in both in his local community and further on when he was senator, and of course when he was the president. So I think for me, that's why I'm really passionate about this and why I want to focus my module on this here. I want to talk about Colorado. So Colorado is where I'm from, where a lot of us are taking our classes at CU Denver. And if, straight off the bat, it is one of the fastest growing states in the country. I mean, after the consensus in 2020, we were able to gain like one congressional district because we're one of the few areas where our population is booming. Like people are coming in here, and we're very educated, very urban, and we're considered a purplish state. So a third of voters are Republican, a third of voters are Democrats, a third of voters are Independents. And we're a relatively young state as well, meaning that a lot of our folks that are coming in here are predominantly under 40. Folks who here are moving here are usually millennials or even younger. And of course, I put some cool pictures. Welcome to colorful Colorado. Everyone loves that picture. And of course, again, this little graph here with our county population change. So you can't really see that, but I'll put some more graphs in here in a second. But I'm a picture guy. I like pictures. I need pictures to really process things, and I'm a visual learner, as they say. So moving on into that, Colorado diversity. The reality is that we're not diverse right now. At the moment, we are pretty majority white. I hate that you can't see this, but basically the idea that a majority of our country is or state is white. 3.8 million people in Colorado are white. That's 67% of the population, and then we have 21% of our population is Hispanic. Other details from the census last or 2 years ago is that Asian and Hispanic trends are growing. Like a lot of Asians are growing. Asian Americans, especially in the state, we were originally at 1.2% 10 years or 20 years ago, and now we're at 3.1. That's like 200% increase. There's a lot of Asian folks who are growing in this community, but obviously Hispanic is the one that takes the cake, so to speak. Hispanic white, they're the fastest growing demographic in the state, and something that I learned is that they're actually very urbanized. So the cities that are like Denver, Broomfield, Boulder, Greeley, like that area, the suburbs around Denver is some of the fastest growing areas in our state. Obviously, Colorado Springs, Greeley, Fort Collins is also growing, but not in the same amounts as Denver is. And that leads us to here, which is our diversity indexes. So this is a cool graph I found. And basically, less diversity, 5 to 19, more diversity, 65 to 79%. So the reason why I like to bring this up is because, like I said earlier just now, our diversity trends are actually like the front range. So you can kind of see that, Boulder, Broomfield, and the eastern side of Colorado, western side of Colorado and Denver it's growing, but it's not that diverse. And other way around. It's growing and it is diverse compared to the Eastern Plains, where it is not diverse at all. So our diversity is really focused on kind of the urban areas around Denver, and then of course our Eastern Plains is kind of not diverse at all. And that kind of makes sense because earlier I mentioned about the rural and urban divide. That is a real thing. Colorado's progress and growth is predominantly in the urban area, and the areas that are kind of not as developed is rural and predominantly kind of far away areas in the state. So our diversity is interesting to look at because again, Colorado, while it seems diverse at first, it really isn't, unfortunately. I want to close out with this slide here, which is Colorado politics. So one thing I really want just look at is the fact that we're changing dramatically. Less than 4 years ago, we elected Colorado's first gay and Jewish governor. A lot of people forget that Jared Polis is Jewish, and it is a big testament to the change of Colorado because once upon a time, our state was described as the hate state, where we passed a lot of anti-LGBTQ laws, and that's a big change, a big shift, because obviously Jared Polis being the first gay governor of Colorado is a huge deal. And there's my boss right there, by the way, the lieutenant governor. So she's pretty cool. Here's my congressman, Joe Neguse. He is CD2, I believe, and he was Colorado's first black congressional delegate or congressional delegate. So I feel like that's a big change. Joe is also was grew up and raised around Colorado. His family, his background is that he is the son of immigrants from Eritrea, which is again a country in Africa, and I go a big deal. But the point I'm trying to make is that he is one of the very few African leaders and black leaders in our country itself, and he's from Colorado. And then lastly, this is JD Mangat. Fun fact is I actually went to high school with him. He's the current mayor of Lafayette. So he's the mayor of Lafayette, and he is, I think, one of the youngest electeds in our entire state. And it's pretty cool because he is Indian descent. And I believe he's also a member of the Sikh faith. So he's also one of the very few non-Christian politicians in our state. And that really ties again with both my modules. I mean, I'm kind of doing a fusion module again, but I do really want to focus on diversity inclusion. But government and government policy is kind of my main thing as well, because Colorado's growing. We're a beautiful state, and yeah, so I appreciate your time, and that's it for this video. So thank you so much, y'all. Appreciate it.